Watching members of the veteran community tear each other apart in public forum has really shown me and taught me over the years, recently more so than previously, how far I think the brotherhood and the family aspect of the military has come in the wrong direction. Being a combat veteran myself, I think it's a little disheartening when there's these people that have held such high positions and have done so much in their communities, in the military or in their personal lives or with their families in general, people that I would consider to be high tier, right? And you have to be in order to reach the realms and the places that they've been. So what I would say is high caliber men really be finite to one moment of their life and then be picked apart and ripped apart and only in remembrance of one action of their whole career, their whole life, and everything they've ever done. And what I think happens when us veterans, when we get together and we start picking and pulling people apart of our own community, we kind of give society the permission to do the same. We kind of show society that since we can destroy each other and tear each other apart, that it's okay for them to do it. And then we're posting all these videos online and everyone's looking at them and watching them and judging them. So now you have these, what I would consider very average people, or people that have done very little with their lives, in my opinion. And that's going to be a little controversial in itself. But people that live their life at home and on a couch, now they're judging these people that have been all over the world and carried out what I would consider service related acts for their country or their friends or whatever. Just to clear something up, when you're on deployment, you're not necessarily on a combat deployment talking about carrying a flag and screaming as you run at the enemy for my country. Like, it's not about, I just want to say this right because it's important. It's not about who you shot. It's not about who you killed. It's not about how many. It's not about the taking of life, but the preserving of life, the protection, the brothers and sisters in arms next to you that you want to go home safe to their families. I just want to change the conversation. I'm not here today to point fingers at who's right and wrong. Almost completely the opposite, right? Jacob Rowe with the Coaches Row. And today I want to discuss the Bin Laden situation and the controversy. Never in my life did I think I would be on a public forum doing this. I originally made the Coaches Row to bring leaders of all walks of life, right? Entrepreneurs, coaches, mentors, teachers, business leaders, managers, whatever the case may be. I made this podcast and this platform to bring leaders together to discuss leadership attributes that maybe there's an accountant out there that has a leadership attribute that I could really use on the battlefield. Maybe there's something on the battlefield that I learned that could really help in youth sports, just a mindset or an opinion or an idea. And it's not for me to say what's going to click with who. It's just in conversation, an open forum conversation, and in an caring and loving environment, we can listen, right? So it's not all about giving advice. It's about taking advice and learning. And it gives me the opportunity to sit down across from these leaders from all walks of life and kind of sharpen my tools as a leader. So that being said, I never thought I would be on open forum discussing things like this or in this manner. But I've seen the Bin Laden controversy online so much lately. And maybe it's just because I clicked on one video, so the next one came and the next one came and the next one came. But I've seen it so much. And I'm watching, what I would consider, I don't know these men personally, but Matt and Rob, I would consider two high-performing, high-tier men, two important individuals to the lives that they've lived, extraordinary lives, extraordinary men. And I'm not talking about the one moment where someone didn't agree with them or this situation, if we're summing their whole lives up into this situation where they might not be in agreement with each other or whatever, man, how horrible is that? God willing, I hope that I am not remembered for my worst moment in life. I hope that somebody and people around me give me the grace in that. Give me the opportunity to overgrow or overcome that. To say that either one of these men's careers and lives that they've lived is call them like a piece of shit or something, that's horrible. And to just sum up their whole existence into this moment, that's so silly to me. I just can't get behind it. And I don't care who's saying it. I'm not in there. I'm here right now to open a warm door of conversation and love and respect. I have nothing but respect for the SEAL community. I've worked with the SEAL community. I was never in the Navy. I'm not a Navy SEAL, but I've worked with them heavily, especially in demolitions and teaching classes or whatever. I was a combat engineer when I was doing the majority of my combat world, when I was active duty. And in being a combat engineer, there's this course called EOCA. It's E and then EOCA, but it's Engineer Explosive Ordnance Course, and it's taught by EOD. So I was not EOD either, but I had my train the trainer on handheld detection. So basically, like for IEDs, that was my primary job, was to search for IEDs with my eyes and bare hands. That was my primary task in my life. So again, talking about SEAL Team 6 or the Navy SEAL teams in general or whatever, when their primary tasks were search and destroy of assets or humans or whatever, mine was more inanimate objects. I was at war with bombs, and I'm not saying other people weren't. It's just my training and what you don't know, like the bomb doesn't have emotions. I can't read your facial expressions. I can't watch its hands. I don't know at any moment I'm approaching this thing. It could be timed. It could be remote. It could be whatever. And I can prepare myself the best I can to be able to see it as soon as I can. But I wasn't, it's not the people that were my big thing. It was devices, things with no emotion, no predictability. Something cold, steel, ball bearings, explosives, wires, no emotions, no human aspect to try to read or fight or engage. And I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying it's a different mindset to walk up to a bomb and to not know what second is just everything goes black. It's not a firefight. It's not a fist fight. You're not pulling out knives and where's my secondary and wall body weapon. None of it. You're not kicking in doors. I mean, we did, but that wasn't my primary task, if that makes sense. Just in full transparency. So I'm not here to discuss tactics or what was realistically going on or what number 1 man to number 4 man, a kicking in the door, who was clearing what. I watched like 1 or 2 videos, and I'll be honest, I am by far nowhere near a subject matter expert on either side or either story or whatever's going on. I don't know. And I'll chalk it up to this. And this is why I don't know. I didn't deep dive on research and figure it all out because at the end of the day, I wasn't there. I don't know. And it's not my story. And I had nothing to do with any of it. So I don't want to put myself in a position to where I have to pretend like I know. And I'd say, for veterans and combat veterans and people out there watching, I just think your opinions matter greatly, but I want to breed an environment and a life to where we all kind of coincide together and I mean, it's kind of weird to say, like we all get along, but the rest of the world is trying to tear us down enough. I can't explain to you how many places I go, and once they find out my background, they treat me weird, or they try to like one up me, or I'll meet a group of men, and they like puff their chest as soon as they find out my background. They're like puff their chests out, or have to be better than me, or talk about why, like, oh, I almost joined the military, but I didn't, or about how, like their experience with shooting and how deadly and lethal they are and whatever, man. And I try to have these conversations from a place of love and respect. So again, to the Navy SEAL community, I'm sorry that you guys are going through this right now. I'm sorry that it's kind of putting a shadow over what you are and what you represent, retired or still active or whatever the case. To all of you, man, I nothing but respect to you guys. Anytime I worked with the SEALs, they were professional, they were brilliant young minds. They were, top tier. Like I got hats off to you. Like, and I was in the Army, so a lot of the times I liked working with the SEALs and training on explosives better than I did like Green Berets, because since the Green Berets were in the Army too, I felt less professionalism from them. But they didn't do nothing wrong. I liked working with the SEALs. My favorite was working with Regiment 75th Ranger Regiment, that a class of their own, just different kind of people. And I was blessed to be able to work with these people and to know these people, right? And I don't have a bunch of friends all over the teams or group or nothing like that. I'm just saying I was blessed and lucky to be in a position to where I was, right? So the reason I got to train these what I would consider elite top tier people, or in certain classes, right? I might have only known them for a couple hours or 8 hours, and it's like I'm just giving you this brief course about this is what's going on. We can't cut wires because there's capacitors and there's energy dumps. So you can't just cut the wire because it'll have a battery pack that'll dump the energy into the explosive. So all those movies out there, Hurt Locker, when he's yanking stuff up off the ground, just cutting wires like that, that's not how it works. But I'm getting sidetracked from that. It's just, I have nothing but respect for all these communities. I have nothing but respect for the service. And deployments, combat deployments. If you've seen combat or not, you still know a version of isolation and loneliness and sacrifice, to leave and go to another country and come home and everything's different. And you almost watch your family and the people around you mourn a you that they used to know. They almost mourn you in front of your face like you're invisible. They talk about who you used to be. They get mad at you for being different. They punish you for being gone. I'm not saying it's like that for everyone, but I'd say most military members, if you're listening right now, you could understand, you can relate. And that's what I want to get through is I just want to show some love to the Navy SEAL community, to my brothers in arms, man. Like, I wasn't on your teams, I wasn't doing what you were doing. It's different. And it's not about who's good and who's better. And I don't care. I'm past that in my life. My hope is that we treat each other better, and how scary is it to not even be able to have a genuine conversation no more? I can't tell you how many times I met another veteran and I tried to have a conversation and it turned into like who did what and who's better and like, oh yeah, you were there. Well, where at exactly were you? And almost like a show me your credentials. So I'm so far past my life of like, prove it. If one person says prove it, don't talk to me. Just leave me be. It's fine. Just leave. You don't have to believe me or like me or want to be around me. But I'm so over that in my own life. So I can just imagine, being one of these men and their lives are under siege. They're under attack. And I think as a community, we don't understand necessarily that social media is like the root of evil now. You can't get away from it. It's everywhere. And now it's like, even if you're not on social media, people can like find your kids and like figure out what schools they're going to. And aren't you related to so-and-so? Oh yeah, they're a piece of shit. Like, it's just so much. And it's so demeaning and demoralizing. And to live a life to, let me pause for a second. To live a life where you're a Navy SEAL, right? You've done some of the hardest training in the world. You made it to an elite category in the number one Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, whatever. You made it to an elite category in the strongest military in the world. Enough said. Enough said, man. Like, and what I want to change the conversation to from what it is, right? It's not about who killed who. I don't care. I'm not saying I don't care about what happened or what was done or the historic moments. I'm saying I don't want to sit around and talk about like, oh, I shot that person. Oh, I shot that person. Oh, that person. Like, I want to talk about the moment you saved someone's life. I want to talk about how many people got to come home because you were Overwatch or because your team went in first. I want to talk about the little kids and women and children that you protected. Those are the things I want to hear about. I want a story of enlightenment, like, and again, I know this isn't what everyone else wants to hear, and it's different for everybody. I want to know the impact you made in your life. I want to know how you built a loving family and how you did so many combat tours and then came home and still had a family, a wife and kids there for you and with you. And how did you mend your relationships and how did you put your life back together? Tell me the process of writing your book. I wrote a book. It's literally for my kids. There's only one chapter on war and it's nothing crazy or steep. And I refuse to go into details about things that I don't think my kids need to imagine. But that's just me. I'm not saying anyone is right or wrong. I want to be back to a spot where a veteran, especially combat veterans of all worlds, can have a conversation, can talk about their life and their story without feeling like, if I can't prove it, if I don't have a video or a recording or 16 people to back up my story, that I can't speak on it. Because what we're doing is we're putting veterans, especially combat veterans, we're putting them in a position to where they can't even speak on their own lives. And honestly, I watched a lot of the Sean Ryan show recently. Again, nothing but respect for him too. I don't know what's going on with everyone. I don't know the details. I just know that I respect all these men. And they all deserve a little bit of grace and a little bit of gratitude. And I don't think any of them have ill will or I don't know. I've never met any of them. I don't know any of them. I don't know any of their friends. I'm not in their community. So I'm not claiming any of that. I just think we're putting everyone in this situation to where it's almost like if you speak on your own life, you're going to be ridiculed for the rest of your life. And how many people in other careers that I know that can just speak on whatever they want to speak on, whenever they want to speak on it, and no one cares. No one cares. You know how many doctors I meet, lawyers? Anytime someone says I'm a lawyer, I don't look at them and the first thing I say is, oh yeah, well, show me your bar test. Like show me your law degree. It's just weird to me. It's weird to me that we breed a culture to where it's okay to attack the veteran. Even if you are a veteran or if you're not a veteran, it's like kind of socially acceptable to be like, oh yeah, we'll prove it. I just don't care anymore about that kind of stuff. Like I don't care how many people you killed. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to. If you need to talk about it to get it off your chest and you just need to express that, I'm here to listen. Absolutely. My door is open to anybody. My studio is open to anybody. If Rob called me tomorrow and was like, Jacob, I want to come talk to you, I'd be like, absolutely, brother, please. Like I would enjoy the conversation, and we don't even have to record it. Like I don't care. It's about, why don't we breed the community where we can be safe in each other, right? Because the outside world, it's not the same. They're not going to take care of us. They're not going to, and it takes a community. As much as everyone wants to say they're alone in it, and they're badasses and whatever, none of us are alone. We all have our group. We all have our people that we rely on, that we trust, and that we love. Man, but to have a talk about combat just in an open form, not who's the bigger man, not competitive, but just sharing stories with people who truly care and understand, that's beautiful. I don't care what anyone says. That's beautiful. And that's how we love our veterans. And that's how we take care of our veterans. That's how we take care of each other. We can't turn everything into some kind of debate or argument or fight. And honestly, I'll speak on my own life because I can't speak about anyone else's. I can't tell you the number of times that I took something from my career in the military, either being overseas or being at home, and I shared it with my family and my friends. And I was like, wow, how cool is this? And they don't give a fuck. They don't give two fucking shits. They change the topic as fast as humanly possible, or they just completely ignore it. And I'm like, why am I the only one that can't share my life and I can't be a human? I have to pretend I am a version of myself that you're okay with, but I can't be me because there's no room for me in life anymore. There's no room for me. So I find myself making room for everyone else. And I'm trying to be forgiving and walk through life gracefully and give gratitude, practice gratitude. I'm trying all these things and I look around and a lot of the times I'm the only one that has to try. Because if I don't, it only hurts me. But it gets to me sometimes and it's just disheartening, right? So again, nothing but respect for the Navy SEAL community, nothing but respect for the service, nothing but respect for the people writing their books and getting their stories out. It is truly hard to speak on your own life and the things you've been through in those kind of forums. It is truly hard to speak on those things and to just write them and publish it and know that the world is going to see it. So again, just to clarify, I don't know the full story of either side. I don't know who's right, who's wrong. I place no blame, and I am no one to judge. I'm just not, man. I'm that's a youth part of my brain, I guess, or how I see it, and I'm just past those times. So if you know anything about me, I always write down a little bit of things in my notes because my brain just, I have some TBIs and my brain doesn't process or remember things the way I wish it did or the way it used to. So again, as a combat veteran, I really wanted to take this time to sit down and talk about respect. Rob, again, I don't know the stories. I have nothing but respect for you, brother. And I say brother as in I see you as one. You don't have to see me as one. I was not a Navy SEAL. I was not in your community. But a brother in arms, man. If we would have been at war together, dude, I would have died for you. And I believe you'd have died for me. And Matt, I feel the same exact way about you. And I'll tell you, that means more to me than anything in this world. Someone who would take a bullet for you. I know if I was on the battlefield, not a guy shot, these motherfuckers would have risked their life to bring me home. Both of them. Both of them. Why aren't we talking about that? Why aren't we talking about that? Why aren't we talking about the type of men that they really are? We can argue about who shot who all day. I don't care. And I wish our society cared a little less. I don't find the glory in that. I find the glory in waking up every day and knowing you are who you say you are. Your characters and morals are just who you are. And again, to both, Rob and Matt, fucking, if either one of you wanted to come talk to me, man, I would love it. But I promise you, I'm not going to get in front of you and ask you a bunch of questions about Osama bin Laden. And it's not because it's not a pivotal moment of life or a big deal. I'm not going to ask you about that. I'll tell you what I'd ask you about. And again, it's the same things I would want to ask Sean. I would love to talk to Sean as well. And again, I'm no one. I don't have a following. I created social media like a month ago. I made social media accounts for like the businesses and the gyms that I opened, and then I sold them off. And I don't have social media accounts now. I have like like 38 subscribers on a YouTube channel for baseball coaching. So I'm no big name, man. I'm not some famous influencer. I don't even know if anyone cares about what I have to say. I just know I have so much to say and I have to get it out because sometimes it feels like it's eating a hole in my chest. And it goes through my brain day in and day out, all night, all morning, all day. So sometimes I just have the thoughts and And I think some of the things that I think are kind of wise, you know? So who am I to die with learned experience? I want to push that on. If one person takes anything from me and is like, hey man, that helped my life a little bit, that's all I need. That's my legacy pushing forward, and I hope that for my kids too. I hope they take my lessons and push them forward. But not to get too far into that, just to say, man, if I had an opportunity to talk to anyone from a SEAL community or Green Berets, Rangers, anyone, my questions are all going to kind of be the same out of respect. It's not going to be about body counts, you know, who you dropped, who you lights out, who you put in the dirt. I'm never going to ask that question. I'm never going to ask that question. And it's out of respect for you and care for you've done so much more than that. You're worth so much more than that. And again, I don't know your personal opinions on this or the community's personal opinions on this. I just know mine. And I'm not speaking for anyone but me. I'm just saying I'm going to ask about things like, man, how hard was it to go through training when your family didn't really understand how serious it was? After your deployments, man, how hard was it for you to come home and just be normal? Are you normal still or not yet? Or, hey, I'll ask, do you ever think about wanting to go back? Would you want to go back? Do you feel more at home or at war? Those are the things I'm thinking about, and I'm hoping that you're not struggling with. But I'm thinking all of you have a different or some sort of insight that would help anyone listening that struggles with those things. So I'm asking questions because I think you guys have so much wisdom and talent and experience to share other than outside of who'd you put a bullet in. And that's just my opinion, you know. I've seen combat. I've engaged myself in combat with my bare hands, you know. But you'll never see me using that as like my accomplishments or like the greatness that I gave to this world. And again, that's just my personal. I'm not downgrading anyone who did. It's just my personal opinion. And I'm not saying everything I've ever done. I believe it was the right thing in that time to do what I did. I don't have regrets like that. It is what it is. I'm just saying, there's so much more to all these men than what the internet is seeing right now. The mentality and the power that they hold in their choices and their control of mind, body, and the way they got through their lives or came home or retired or whatever. Just, you know, like, there's so much more to all of them than the things that everyone's seeing and talking about. And I hope that this conversation can change the conversation. And I know a lot of people want to know the truth, and I know a lot of people are going to be mad at me because I'm not asking about it. And I don't think it's my truth to know. I don't think it's for me to know. And it just is what it is, you know. But to go back, I could see why doing something and accomplishing something or something that you considered important in your career and no one ever knows about it is hurtful, and it's hard because you spent your whole life doing it. So again, just for the listener, for the people listening, one, I appreciate you for listening, because this is a very sensitive and hard topic to get through, especially to show respect to all parties, because I have nothing but respect for the SEALs. I have nothing but respect for Green Berets, 75th Regiment, like 160th. You know, I have nothing but respect for the Rakkasans, right? 101, 3ID, 1st ID, 10th Mountain. Like I respect the service, man. I just respect service because that's what it is. It's a service. And no matter what you think you're getting from it, it's going to take more. It's going to take more than you thought. So that's why it's called a service and a sacrifice. And, you know, just because people say thank you for your service doesn't mean that They understand the weight of it, and that's okay. I'm just saying, I respect all of you, man, and I think I want our veteran communities to come together a little bit more and to take care of each other a little bit more. And I won't get too far into this, but I got 8 names on the wall behind me, and I built this wall as a dedication and a memorial wall to the people we lost, some at war and some to their own hands after they came back from war physically but not mentally. And I don't want to see it no more. I don't want to hear it. I want the veteran community to stop fighting itself. And this is, again, my personal opinion, not to get too too therapist like, but is it possible? And anyone feel free to answer, please. Is it possible that you get a group of men and women together that have spent their adult life perfecting the art of war, the craft of war, and they go to war and then they come home? Is it possible that even though they came home, that their body and mind still want something to fight? Is it possible that all these warriors are just now living? And what do they have to fight? So instead of, fighting for peace, tranquility, whatever you want to call it, instead of fighting for quality of life, they end up fighting each other because it's another warrior. They get to fight again. And yeah, it might show up different. It might look different. It might be online. It might be in a book. It's not like a fist fight, but it's still a fight. And stress response is stress response. So is it possible to think that you put all these high performing warriors together in a community and they're all fighting for their spot for, a glorious death? And when it doesn't happen, you're just left. You're just left there. And it's like, now what? Is it possible that they're still fighting a war, but they're just fighting the wrong people now? And that's where I want to ask everyone to give each other some grace. And again, I know that is kind of a pipe dream. But yeah, man, if we can just practice a little forgiveness and grace and move on. Let's move on from this conversation. And let's get back to how phenomenal it is to be a Navy SEAL. How amazing it is to be a Green Beret. What you had to go through RASP and be in regiment. Like the pressure and dedication you had to put into your mind, body, and soul to achieve these things. Let's get back to that. Let's get back to the respect of service. Let's get back to the love of our country and our service. That's all I want, man. And again, anyone going through, I know there's some other people out there that are going through some kind of public eye things, and I'm just sorry, man. I hope it gets better for you. I hope that things smooth out soon. I hope that the conversations like this right here become more prevalent and we move on, right? Instead of demonizing someone for one thing that we might not agree with or might not understand, let's move on. I just think as a community, we have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of each other. There's the government and everyone out there saying, like, we care about veterans and, here's your discount. Here's your 10% off, Thanks, Verizon. I don't give a fuck, dude. Like, they don't care. The truth is, you'll be hard pressed to find anyone that actually gives a shit. And I truly believe that. And that might be one of the saddest things I truly believe. But it, in my life, in my experience, is very true. They care about as much as they can understand. And if they can't understand it, they just don't give a fuck about it. We're all fighting about shit that no one really cares about just because it's drawing attention and using people's names. And I just want better. I want better for these men. I want better for us in the service. I want better. And again, it's not an agreeing with, I'm not agreeing with anybody. It's just kind of my own opinion, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to hate me for this too. I don't want to fight about shit like this. I want to cherish life and move on and grow lives. I don't want to tear lives apart. I want to grow lives with my community and my brothers and my sisters in arms. I just want growth, and I want better, and I want achievement, and I want you all to live well, man. That's it. That's what I want. I want you all to live well, and I want you to not be in the public eye of scrutiny and shame when other people can't even fathom what you've been through to create the kind of person that you are. And that's my thing, is I'm sick of these average people online talking about like, Matt did this, blah, 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 blah. Rob did this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, you can't even fathom what it took for the mental construct of these men. Like, you can't, that's between them. That's between them. Like, you can't even, and let me sum that up, right? When I say you can't fathom, and when I say average, if you were getting a 70% in high school, in college, that's average, man. Like, you passing and graduating, that's average, dude. Like, you getting a degree, that's average to me. Well, a bachelor's, but you get a master's or a doctorate, all right, now you're above average. Now you're reaching other things, in my opinion. So to put that in perspective of like what it would take to understand men like this and people like this, can you imagine, if you could walk with me real quick, let's take this mental stroll. Can you imagine, you're sitting at a desk, lights are off, there's a spotlight down on the desk where you're sitting. Someone takes, a landmine, sets it on the desk, and says, hey, you can't see anything else in this room, but I'm going to tell you there's 1,000 people in this room with you, and all you can see is what's in front of you because everything is black. And I'm telling you, this is a filled room of humans. You can't hear them. You can't see them. You just know they're there in the back of your head. You know they're there. And I tell you, I put this landmine at the table, and I said, hey, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to learn this device, and then I'm going to activate it. And if you can't stop it, it all goes away. Now, in that moment, sitting there in that chair, in a room full of people, but alone, in the dark, with the spotlight on you, can you imagine the focus that you would have to be able to learn that munition good enough in 5 minutes to be able to stop it from working? Have you put that effort and that focus and that sort of emergent belief system in anything you've ever done in your life? And if the answer is yes, then yeah, you get it, man. And if the answer is like, oh, wow, that's crazy, no, well then take a step back and see what it would be like to, have you ever gave more attention than you're even capable of because you have to? When you go to work, is everyone going to die next to you if you don't do the right thing? If something as little as like, I forgot my extra pen, and I know that's a little steep. It's just, those are the kinds of mindsets that these men and these people in these situations live with. And just, it's so steep. And we kick it down and break it apart and tear it apart so easily, like it's no big deal. And again, I don't know who's right. I don't know who's wrong. I don't agree with nothing. I just know no matter what, I respect all of them. I respect all these men. And I want us as a veteran community to get back to respecting each other and not trying to find another war to fight. Maybe it's over. Maybe there's no more war to fight. Maybe you can move on. And that's my hope for all of us. Just another thing is what example are we leaving for our youth? We still need, people that want to join the service and respect the service. And what example are we leaving as they're watching all these Grown adults pick each other apart and rip each other apart. And then think about what we're showing the world. Who would want to do that? Who would want to be ripped from their friends and family and do all these things and go to war just to be like, yeah, I'm super proud of myself, and then come home and be treated like a fucking liar or a piece of shit? To where everything you do now, it's like, if you don't have a picture or documented proof, I don't believe you. How many motherfucking people in life walk through life and have a picture or documented proof of every fucking moment that they did anything good? I just think we all need to take a step back. Breathe. Remember what it's really about. It's not about the lives we take. It's about the life that we preserve. It's about the way of life, the quality of life, the American way, right? Like, it's about preservation of life. That's what we need to get back to. We protect those who can't protect themselves. We win the mind. We win the day. Every day is a new day. And we do it again tomorrow. That's what it is. It's protection. It's belief. It's faith. It's not the bodies put into the dirt. Hopefully, with the belief systems and the strength of mind and culture, we can start ridding that, and we don't have to get to those extremes anymore. That's the hope. That's the goal. Let's bring it back. So, I mean, kind of rambled. And again, I call this the unheard or the unknown perspective, because I don't see anyone else saying this. And it's not that it's not out there. I'm not saying I'm the first one to say things like this. I just haven't seen them. And I'm not on, YouTube and social media very much. So I don't know. It could be all over the place. This might be a silly idea that I had. It's just things that I felt compelled to say. I think all of these men have earned some grace in their lives. And I think that's just where we should sit. I think if you weren't there, it's not for you to know. It's just not for you to know. I'm not going to debate. I'm not going to go back and forth. Rob, Matt, if either one of you ever hear this, man, I have no hate towards either of you. I'm not judging nobody. I have no room to judge. But if you ever wanted to come sit down and just talk about other things, right? Not the controversial shit that's going on right now. Other things. If you wanted to talk about, the first day of getting your kid to school, or going on a deployment, or your first deployment, or your last one, or your retirement, or a fucking birthday party that you hated or enjoyed. If you wanted to talk about friends that you lost. If you wanted to talk about moments you felt like you let the people around you down. Happy, sad, mad, I don't care. We can talk about it. I'm telling you right now, I view both of you as much more than the much more significant and important than the controversy about the Bin Laden thing. I just think you both deserve more than that. So that's just my opinion. That's just how I see it. Again, the coach's row is more for leadership, development, mentorship. But I strongly believe see something, say something. So I see something wrong. And I see us kind of handling a situation in a weird way. So I wanted to say something about it and just spread love, man. Spread care. Let's take care of each other. Let's take care of the veteran community. Let's have nothing but respect for our country, man. Let's bring it back. Let's take a step back. Let's be proud to be who we are and where we are. And let's work like fucking hell to grow who we are. All right, so again, this is unconventional for this forum, but thank you for listening. And if anyone wants to reach out and talk about anything or kind of go through this stuff, like I said, man, everything doesn't have to be recorded. And I'm just an open ear and an open opinion And I'm not here to judge. So remember, growth starts at failure. So fail up and fail forward. I'll see you next time.